I am starting off tonight's inspirational video by saying I love my Mac. I love my Mac. I love my Mac. I love my Mac. I've been Mac girl a long time, and comparing a Mac to a PC is like comparing a Lamborghini to a Toyota. No offense to Toyota, but it ain't no Lamborghini. And that's just my story, and that's my tribute to you, Steve Jobs. I love my Mac. That said, I choose to share a story about my Mac for tonight's little inspirational video. And let's see, where do we begin? This is my third or fourth Mac. I've really rarely ever had trouble with my Macs. And over the past year, in my company, we started doing a lot of filming with HD cameras, and I had to take on the job of learning also had to do some editing and transferring of this footage and all these things, even though that's not my position. But, I actually really enjoyed it, and it was beautiful. And so I had to get a more powerful Mac, which is the one that's recording me now, to really handle this heavy footage and all this editing that I'm doing. And a couple weeks ago, I started having trouble with transferring of the footage from my camera into the external hard drive. It's holding all these hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage, but I'm also having a lot of other trouble. I started having all this other trouble with my computer in general. I just started to do weird things that I know not only are not natural to a Mac, but not a more powerful new Mac, so I'm like, I think I gotta take in my Mac. So I take in my Mac to Apple. And like, okay, it looks like you have a faulty internal hard drive. We're gonna have to take it out and put a new one in, which means your computer is gonna be completely wiped clean. Have you made a backup? I'm like, well, that's part of the problem. I haven't been able to make a backup. It's not letting me make a backup. And after running lots of tests, we determined, sure enough, it was the internal backup, and we had to do all these manual backups of folder by folder by folder, and basically I had to just cross my fingers and hope that everything was backed up. Yeah, you can see kind of where this story is going. Anyhow, having faith in my God, I hand over my Mac, and they take it off for a week. My baby, my Mac, and I get it back 5 days later, and I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble. And now my Mac is not reading my Mac. It's not reading my external hard drive where I have all my footage. So now I really want to just cry, right? What? Literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage, collaboration of so many people, basically irreplaceable footage, and my Mac is not reading it, and oh my God. And the guy at Mac's like, well, you need a second external hard drive I think the only thing we're going to be able to do is take all the material from the old external into a new external and then wipe out the old external, whatever. This whole ordeal, but I didn't have a second external. In fact, just a few weeks before, I was like, wow, I need to have a backup external of this external, because if anything happens, this external, holy manoli, no. But we've put so much money into our new center. Okay, I'll get the new external in a few weeks. And so the guy's like, I don't have another external. And really what was beginning to happen was it was starting to really become clear that a lot of what was going on was Mac's fault, and they had done some errors in the new internal hard drive. Long story short, the manager of Mac shows up and hands me a brand new 2T external hard drive on the house. It was the least they can do because I've already lost hours of work in all this ordeal. But really the point of the story is that if you back up 45 minutes earlier, when we were really starting to see what was happening and this whole thing was starting to kind of just blow up and blow up and blow up and get worse and worse and worse. As it was getting worse and worse, I could also feel my blood pressure starting to like, and I just wanted to like, and just strangle someone. But I quickly caught the reaction starting to happen. And I quickly, as quickly as I caught it anyways, put in a very, very favorite tool of mine into action. And that tool is this. I internally, after I take a nice long deep breath, and maybe 3 or 4, I reminded myself that everything, and I mean everything, works out to my advantage. Everything works out to my advantage. And so I just reminded myself that. And as soon as I started to internally remind myself that, as I'm sitting there in the Genius Bar ready to strangle someone, as soon as I reminded myself, everything works out to my advantage. I may not see it how, I may not know how, no. But everything works out to my advantage. So I'm going to breathe and I'm going to relax and I'm going to enjoy this moment. This moment is going to happen anyway, so I'm going to enjoy it. And I reminded myself everything works out to my advantage. And 45 minutes later, I'm given the very extra external hard drive that I was asking for from the universe just a couple weeks back. Hallelujah. Everything always works out to my advantage. Everything always works out to my advantage. Everything always works out to my advantage. And I want to just really point out here and make it very, very clear that when I say everything works out to my advantage, this is not like an ego, like, everything works out to my advantage. Because when you understand that is what is for my highest good, can and only and always is for the highest good of everyone. I mean, that's just really the magic of the universe. That is what I have observed. There is no such thing as something that is for my highest good that isn't for the highest good of anyone. Because the universe doesn't discriminate like that. The universe is just a benevolent force, is what I've experienced. And truly, if something is for my highest good, it's for the highest good of everyone. There's no other way. It's law. It's just what I've observed, and it's my truth. And so that's why I can so calmly say everything works out to my advantage, because I'm coming from that place that everything works out for my highest good. But the second piece of the puzzle is when you get into that calm place of knowing everything works out to your advantage, you are relaxed enough and faithful enough to see the blessings and opportunities and gifts that are always there. A. And B, you allow them to come in, because when you're like this, first of all, blessings that could have come to you may not. You know, if I got into like a really, really angry, bitchy mode, who knows what that manager would have done? He could have just very easily made it like, sorry, you got to get a new external. You know, he didn't have to do that. About a week later, I'm transferring all the material again, hours of frustration, and I realize that this video that I spent hours on editing and scripting and is nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be found in my external. So again, I just want to be like, what? And I'm literally looking through every single folder in the external, in my internal, and it's nowhere to be found, and I want to cry. I want to cry. No one talk to me right now. I want to cry, and that reaction starts to happen again because, you know, it's very habitual in us humans because we've been raised that way. Part of our process of growing in consciousness, part of our life mastery, part of our purpose in life is mastering ourselves, which means not reacting. And so that reaction starts to happen. And then I reminded myself the gift that happened just the week before. Surely everything works out to our advantage. And yes, this is hours of work that seems to have thin air. But everything works out to my advantage. And then I remembered I burned one DVD of this video. And I had given it to a potential client that would have been an amazing client to work with. And I wanted her to see the video. And she took the video, and she took the DVD, and kind of never heard from her again. I remember feeling a little bummed out for not working with her. It would just been a wonderful, wonderful person to work with on many, many levels because she's so aligned with us already. And well, looks like I'm going to have to give this client a call because I need this DVD. Ring, ring, ring. Hi. This is so-and-so. Oh my God, I'm so glad you called me. You don't understand. I've kind of hit rock bottom, and I'm just so glad you called me. I really need to work with you. She was so involved in her own life, I really don't think she was going to had the moment to call me to work with me again and to work with us again. Blessing again. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. She was in our offices the very next day. We had this marathon session with her for hours. And we're working with her now. And the benefits that we're going to see on so many levels from this relationship is really, really far-reaching. I can't go into the details because it's personal to client, but it's just really, really far-reaching in the potential that it'll be worth the hours lost from this video lost. And if I hadn't lost that video, we wouldn't have called her. So again, everything, and I mean everything, if you allow it, if you allow yourself to see it that way, if you allow yourself to breathe and take control and mastery over your thoughts and feelings, because you're the only one who can, you allow yourself to choose to see that everything works out to your advantage, you are going to be the one laughing joyfully at the end of the day when you see just how much it does. And by taking that attitude on, those blessings are going to be able to come in. And the only one to really benefit is going to be you. Because your blood pressure is not going to boil and you're just going to breeze more joyfully through life. So next time something happens, just remind yourself. Take a deep breath and 5 if you have to. And just say to yourself, everything happens to my advantage. And in fact, take it one step ahead. Say thank you already. Say thank you already. Thank you that video got erased. And thank you for listening to this video. I love you. I love you. And I say good night. Hallelujah.